1 second here. There we go. Sorry about that. Had to fix it for YouTube there as well. Can you guys hear me now on YouTube as well? Alrighty. So, like I said, I'm just gonna take one person up at a time, trying 30 seconds to a minute. We can talk a little bit, but I just want to get to as many as I can. I just don't want this to get out of control. So, anybody that wants to come up and ask any questions, go ahead. Otherwise, I guess I can just talk about some stuff for a little bit until we get some questions. So I don't see any requests at all right now. So if anybody wants to come up at all, go ahead and send some requests. Otherwise, I'll look into YouTube. So anybody on YouTube, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know. Do I play 2K? I play NBA 2K, yes. Anybody on Twitter want to come up at all? I mean, like I said, I don't see any other people requesting at all. But otherwise, if we don't have anyone on Twitter, I can go ahead and just talk about some stuff here for AMC. So if you guys are in here for AMC at all, some great news is you're seeing all these streaming services come up with new bundles. As you guys saw, you now have Disney Plus, Hulu, and Max. They're basically becoming cable companies. So this was the reason that we all got away from, cable. It's to join these services and not have to pay these fees and do all this stuff. So they're basically becoming what they, said they weren't going to be, but that just proves, once again, streaming services is dying. On top of that, I don't know if you guys saw today, but they announced that a Lord of the Rings movie is coming out. I actually have a request, so let's go ahead and pull some up finally. 1 second here. All right. I think I pulled them up. You should be coming up here in a second. How are you doing, Sparky?
Hi, Amcbiggums. It's finally nice to be able to talk to you. I got a question for you about the CAT system. The thing that Tom Emmer said yesterday, how is that going to affect the CAT system? What he posted?
Let me pull that back up. Do you remember exactly what he posted? I don't remember exactly.
He said it. No. I saw your reply and I replied too, but
let me pull it back
sorry.
up here. I replied to so much stuff, man. Let me specific tweets are hard to remember. Let me go look quick. Think I could pull it up quick. I think he was just complaining about that rule that they wanted to get rid of. Hold on, let me look. I'm trying to pull it up. I respond to a lot of stuff apparently, so hold on a second. Yeah, if you could find that too. I guess I could just go to Tom's page.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll send it.
quick.
I'll find it and send it to you.
I'm on his page right now. He's got. I mean, it's not like he posts all the time here, so you would think you'd see it right away. Oh yeah, no. So this is the thing. The rule. This is where a lot. So he ended up talking about the 121 rule, and I know Boss Blunt and a lot of people posted that it was about the CAT system, and it actually wasn't. I posted on his thing there. It was actually not about the CAT system. It was about cryptocurrency and the custodials and the banks and how much they have to hold and rules that they need to follow by holding that. So it actually doesn't have anything to do with the CAT system. I don't know if you're still here.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I think I just posted it on Boss's page there. Oh wait, he deleted the post. Yeah, it was 121. It was about the custodial obligations for crypto assets. It wasn't about the CAT system. Do you have any other questions at all? I honestly don't know how to move you down. Just drop down though, if you can. I'm on my computer. This is all weird on this. I'm gonna go ahead and check YouTube, see if anyone has any questions. But like I said, guys, if you have any questions, go ahead and request to come up here. I'm gonna read YouTube for a second here. Q2 box office. Q2 box office, I think, are going to be a lot better in the last half of this month. Like I said, man, you saw the movies coming out. The only reason it's not as high as it was the first month was pretty trash. I mean, I was telling everybody it's going to be bad. But all of May is amazing. The Fall Guy did. I thought it was going to do better than it did. But I also said it would do probably 100, 125 million by the end of the quarter. Hopefully it does that. But all the bigger movies, like I said, I think Garfield will be your one that does 250. Your Mad Max should do over 200. Planet of the Apes should kill it. I think that should easily do 150. So, I mean, all these other, you got a lot of better movies coming. So, like I said, the first half of this Q2 is going to be a lot slower. 1 second, I got some requests to come out. Lord of the Rings movie, yeah. On top of that, you got Lord of the Rings movie coming in 2026. And this is the thing, like, when it comes to AMC, this is one thing that is driving me nuts. Is you see a lot of these people talk about, well, we're down 93% from our all-time high. Okay, well, if you want to do that too, GME is down to $16 from 340 or whatever it hit. It's like when we first, the thing was that they had a giant run up, and on top of that, they obviously took the buy button away. It would have went way higher. But the problem was once they stopped, once they cheated, when you looked at the company itself, and this is why I don't understand why everybody's so. Hey, I get Adam Aaron's done some stupid stuff, but he's also done some great things where, again, we've closed 160 theaters. We've bought in 60. Those 60 are outperforming 160 old theaters. That's how you get rid of cash burn. That was the number one problem with AMC. They had too many theaters. They got too big. They expanded too much. On top of that, COVID came, so now you have all these theaters underperforming. You need to keep getting rid of those. On top of that, now you're getting merchandise expansion. He was talking about getting that into the 100 million mark. You got your popcorn. He's talking about getting that into the 100 million mark. You had the strike. You had all these things that were affecting content. The only thing AMC at this point is missing is content. We are a movie theater company. When we all invested in this right away, it was burning 250 million a quarter. And people like me, Tony Denaro, were saying that, and people were screaming at us. Oh, it doesn't matter. It does matter. You need to fix that, and once that's completely gone, the thesis or the short thesis is gone. Like you said, we had to weather the storm. The storm's weathered. From now on, it just start looking profitable. You got rid of deferred rent. You got rid of the credit facility. That's 40 million a quarter that you're now going to save. That's a lot. That's what you can start paying down on debt. So I said it looks a lot better than people are making it out to be. The price, obviously, it's like blaming a bank teller when the bank gets robbed. I mean, literally, if you ask Ken Griffin what's going on with AMC stock, and he would literally say, as he said, the market's working efficient. We're setting it right where we want to. But let me keep going here. I know I just pulled somebody up. Pip, you have any questions at all?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Yes. How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, man, it's really good to talk to you. First, I want to compliment you. You provide such great information and you make it so easy to understand. So I, for one, just really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
And are we still on schedule that not necessarily MOAS, but to have a run, it's going to be these banks and the financial system collapsing one on one probably rather than AMC, which is coming back, fundamentals improving greatly, but it will be the collapse of the system really that will bring us the first run rather than AMC in particular.
Yes, I believe so. Because, like I said, the thing is these banks, they're their lenders. So when these guys stop getting credit, stop getting loans and leeway on this and leeway on that, and the only reason these guys are able to do that is because they have this money. But I believe the commercial real estate, again, that's 929 billion that's going to hit them just this year alone. On top of that, you have even more hitting them next year, and most of that's in these middle banks. So these guys aren't going to be able to make it. The feds aren't going to be able to bail them out, and you're seeing the discount window again. It's up to over 7 billion. That's a lot. So these feds are picking banks. When those guys collapse, it's going to start affecting these bigger banks. And on top of that, some of these, you're going to have banks that have contracts with family offices. And I still believe a family office, we still haven't seen them yet, but I still believe a family office, because that's the thing. It's not like Bill Huang was the only one that's out there over leveraged and did that tactic. There's going to be plenty of banks or plenty of family offices that did that, don't have that regulation. But when these banks start going down, they're going to start looking at their books and be like, hey, you have this on over here, with this family office. We need to go look into that. So I think there's going to be a lot of contracts that will end up being discovered through these guys collapsing as well. And eventually they're going to have to collect on those. And the only way they're going to be able to collect on those, because you're already seeing the FDIC says, we don't have enough money to bail everybody out. And you're already seeing these banks are going to collapse. Everybody's seen it. You already saw the first one coming. New York Bancorp would have collapsed too, but they got that billion injection. But you're seeing that's not enough. The problem is the treasury bond and these rates, and they're just going to keep going up and up and up, and more people are pulling out of these banks, so they have less and less assets as well, and they live off of deposits, so they're all over leverage, and eventually, with end game rules coming, I don't see any way out for all of these guys, because it's like they wanted to, as you guys saw with the cat system rule, they wanted to suddenly make that exemption there, and they wanted to create that loophole. Well, they basically laughed at it because no one would sponsor it, because no one's gonna back that rule and have it passed. So I don't see them getting out of this anyway. I think we're still on track.
Okay, well, hey, what's going on in South Korea where they're coming out against shorts? Do you think that's going to get into the American markets where there's going to be a rollover where what's being done in South Korea will affect what the shorts are doing here in America?
I mean, I think eventually, if too much comes out, we demand it. I mean, that's the thing. They're gonna, if the United States will probably end up watching them. They're gonna try and learn from their system, see what they do, see how they can improve it. But I mean, the problem with it is it's gonna take them a year to get it going in South Korea, and then the United States is gonna see it. They're gonna delay implementation for years and years and years. So by that time, it would even get into place. I don't think. I mean, the way they're over leveraged in every single way possible. How many bubbles there are? I don't even think it would matter to even get to that point. I think you're already going to see the collapse way before that.
Okay, one last question for you, if I can. Uh, and if it's not too personal, are you self-educated or did you go through a college education? Because you just strike me as a guy who uh, who did it on your own. And again, if it's not personal information, if you were college educated or just mostly on your own, and I'll hang up and let you answer if you'd like to. And again, just appreciate everything you're doing. Just keep doing it. Don't change, man. Thank you.
I appreciate that. But I mean, you guys got to remember, we've been in this for 3 years. I mean, when I first got in this, I worked with that Mikey Danks guy, and he was a ex banker. He knew all the ways. That's how I first got into Reddit. Is I met Mikey Danks, and Mikey Danks pointed me to all this stuff, all this corruption. He pointed me to AMC and GME, and he knew a ton about this. And then I ended up meeting Dave Lauer, and I ended up meeting all of these people that worked in the field, Peter Hahn, and et cetera, et cetera. And working with these guys, talking with these guys, reading all their books, reading court case after court case, reading violation after violation. It's like there's 7,000 plus violations with the banks. You can go and read them. You know what I mean? You can pull them up, read them, and see exactly what they're doing. And when you start to get into it, it's just like, so I'm pretty much self-taught with everything. So when I did coding, I didn't know SQL. I didn't know any of that stuff. I got hired at a job. I learned SQL. I learned HTML. I learned C sharp, and I learned HTML and JavaScript was the ones that I used. I learned them all quick. I moved up. I went into what's called Doc Center at TempWorks. I mean, like I said, the only thing that was right about that one fake, like I said, the thing that cracked me up, somebody made a fake LinkedIn page, found out one job I worked at, and it's only made of everything. It was hilarious. Like I said, they didn't have a picture. They used my Twitter alias. They didn't even know my name. Like I said, it just cracks me up. But that's the thing. Like, if you really want to learn something, if you really want to learn what these guys doing, then I sit there and I'll poke a bear, I'll poke Doug, I'll poke all these people that work in the industry that are doing the crime. I'll bring up their crime, and next thing you notice, guess what? I called out Doug and the iron workers before court case even came up about. I'm like, hey, there's rumors that you've been stealing from iron workers, buddy. And then he got all defensive, and next thing you notice, and it's like, well, obviously when you start pushing the right buttons, I don't know, it intrigues me to keep learning. Why am I upsetting this guy? Why is this guy so defensive about this? Why does this guy hate AMC so much? Where did this stuff go? And it's like, when you start to learn more about swaps and ISDA and all this stuff, and you start to realize exactly what they can all do, it's like, I don't know. I just kept getting deeper and asking more and more and more people that are in the field, and eventually you get so many connections. It's very easy to learn. You just want to have the drive to do it. So, anyone else have any questions? I'm going to go ahead and look at YouTube as well. If you have a question on Twitter, go ahead and ask. I'm going to look at YouTube, see if they have any. Why doesn't anybody ask him about dividends for AMC on earning calls, or why don't we think that will work? Let me bring up the dividend point here. So right now, it's like a lot of people think that that's your go-to. It's got to be done, and once the dividend comes, they're screwed. And it's like, well, show me multiple instances where this has happened. It's like, one, the dividend's going to cost the company money. We don't have that much money right now. The thing that people need to realize with this AMC play, if you watch my channel, you're watching AMC's price action, and you knew exactly what was going to happen. I told you guys we're going to sit at 340, and we're going to keep dropping down to about 3, and we're going to keep we're selling shares right now. The thing came out yesterday. We're halfway done with dilution. I posted that on Twitter, and here's the problem: people get so emotional that people that are all pro CEO, Adam, they're all, why would you say he's doing that? It might just be blah blah blah. And it's like, no, because if you guys look at the history, in the first 2 weeks, we sold from 340, and the second it hit $3, we stopped every single time, which is why I said to people on my channel, when you keep going to that $2.99 range, $2 range, $2.80, whatever it goes to, that's where I'm buying. I mean, you guys do what you want to do, and it's like, it's going to recover. The thing about AMC here is everything for us fundamentally is changing. The content's coming out. You're going to start being positive. Everything for us is getting better. Why it's getting harder and harder and harder for them. Credit's drying up. These guys are getting more over leveraged by the second. As you guys saw, I showed people that the normal banking system is no longer borrowing to these people. So what is everybody doing? They're going to the shadow, the secondary banking system. And every time in the future, or in the past, if you guys read into all the crashes, all the stuff with the shadow banking system, guess what? Always ends up with a crash. And guess where they're running? The secondary banking system. On top of that, when you guys look at the discount window, the secondary discount window, and that's for the banks that don't qualify for the main discount window, they have even worse terms. The secondary window is jumping up as well. So that's exactly where all these guys are running. So again, they're now all on the same hill as you guys see in the SPY. It's the same 7 stocks that are holding up everything. They're all on the same hill, and they're now running to the shadow market. They're running out of time while everything for us is improving. So just relax. This is like getting ape at 77 cents. It'll turn around. Let me pull somebody up here. Next person that hold on. Let me go. Boom. Hey Pip, you want to drop down as a speaker, my friend? Really not.
Oh, hey, what's up, Biggums?
Yeah, you can drop me down.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I don't even know how to drop you, man. It won't let me on my computer. I can't even click on your name. It just pulls up your
I'll
thing.
try to do it. I'm not sure either, but I'll try it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, buddy. Muad, what's your question, my friend?
All right, what's up?
How you doing?
Yeah, I just wanted your take on the Brett Harrison video. Just the fact that, it's like shadow banned on Twitter, and that there's been like 8, I don't know how many, but there's like an estimate of like 8 quadrillion synthetic tokens of AMC. Do you think those will ever have to be bought back? Because those were definitely used for shorting in some way.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about that video and those tokens and everything. So a lot of those tokens, a lot of people are looking at them incorrectly because they would see there's something called a max. It's like a max supply of tokens, and that's exactly what everybody was. Hey, look at there's 4 quadrillion of these tokens. It says they're in existence when that was just actually the max supply of the amount that could be created. That didn't mean they were necessarily created. The thing with Brett and the scam and all this stuff is he, all these the real, the amount of FTX you could buy on AMC, those specific ones were supposed to be backed by the custodial. Well, those obviously were never backed by that. And, I want to say they have to buy those back, you would think, but problem is it's like, if you look at the daily volume of those AMC coins, it wasn't as high as a lot of people. Like I said, it wasn't in these quadrillions and stuff that everybody wants to say it is. I don't think that they used crypto the way that people want to say that they did, and they put it in there because they didn't need to. They would just put it in swaps. You wouldn't put it in crypto because it'll be on blockchains. It'll be out in ledgers. You know what I mean? So they're not. I mean, these guys. You have no reason to put it in a public ledger in any way, shape, or form when you can always put it in ISDA. The thing about ISDA that's a problem is it's between just two people. So no matter what, they can always go to somebody. They'll always find that one person that will clear it for them. You know what I mean? So they can clear it off books between these two people, and that there's no reason to ever put it on this. So it's like, I feel like it's never been a reason to where they ever needed to do that. And a lot of people, I think, were incorrect about that DD about those tokens. I don't think that, I mean, I agree with Dave Lauer. I don't think they were used as a locate. The only way they could have been used as a locate is if they used the shares that were technically in the custodial account for those tokens. And if they did that, it was only a limited supply. So I don't think that the the FTX thing is as massive as that seems, or like it wasn't the quadrillion things. I think those were more like scam tokens that were made, people trying to run off it. Like they even Dave Lauer's even saying, and like I said, it was the max supply. It wasn't the in creation or in flow or currently in the current supply. So
Oh,
that's
okay,
my
I
thought on
got
this.
you. Yeah, I just have a couple more questions. I'll be quick.
Of course, you're good.
The second one I had is, do you think CAT will be passed when at the end of May, or do you think it'll be pushed back? And if so, is there anything that we can do besides, just writing our concerns and how we feel?
I mean, writing your concerns is the biggest thing, but the thing about writing your concern is the main thing you want to do at the end is say, my vote will be swayed by your opinion type thing. Because if you just say, like, I'm concerned about this, if I want you to do this, they don't care if you're going to be like, well, I'll piss some people off because they don't care. But if you start talking about, well, you know what, I'm just going to vote against you no matter what. I don't care because you obviously don't have us, so we're not going to vote for you. When you start talking about votes, that means they're not going to be in office. That means they can no longer be in the big guys, taking all these bribes left and right. They can't be inside the market, getting insider trading. So that's when it becomes a big deal to these guys. But I do believe by them, just because they tried to slip it in like that. I mean, the thing about that was it was Hester Pierce's little, company, the Mercatus Center or theater, whatever, and they tried to slip it in. So obviously, that was Hester Pierce one, and nobody backed it. So I don't think that there's any chance that they delay it again at this point. I feel like it's pretty much set in motion, and that's why they're bringing them into court. The only way that it could, I guess, get delayed is if as this Citadel court does something about it, but I don't really see them being able to.
Okay, cool, thanks. My last question was, why don't you think we've raised money through bonds instead of shares?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, you could do it. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speculate on why anything he. I don't know why he does anything he does. I feel like he's set in his old ways, but on top of that, with bonds, it's like the rates might end up being more costly. It depends on what we can end up getting them. You got to have participation. I mean, it's a whole bunch of factors. I don't know if these covenants that we currently have. I haven't. The one thing I need to do about AMC is dig way more into these covenants. They could prevent that type of situation. So it's like the way you can raise capital could be restricted. I need to look way more into that on AMC. But any of those factors could contribute to that.
Okay, cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
I'm gonna go switch over to, and then if you want after you speak, just end the call and then just rejoin quick again. It won't let me drop anybody down. And then anybody else have any questions? Go ahead and request. Gonna go over how's Baby Biggums doing. Baby Biggums is doing great. Hopefully, he comes here in late August or early July. I can't wait. I cannot wait. He's been kicking. Let's see. We got any more questions over here on YouTube? Let me look over on YouTube. I don't have any more requests. But again, guys, you're seeing Netflix. You know they're editing stuff, so people are gonna again lose faith in Netflix again. Worse, look for streaming. One of the things that he did say in the earnings call, there were 60 theaters that we opened. We closed down 169, and those 60 theaters outperformed the 169. Now, again, when content comes back, the one thing that was great to see in that earnings call is we made less revenue, but we had less cash burn than the year before. So again, it's going down and down and down. 2025, we're not going to have deferred rent or a credit facility payment. You're going to have the content there. Again, at that point, I believe you will have over 100 million in merchandise with the new shop, with the new, merchandise they're getting there as well. On top of that, he said record, per patron. That's good to see. That'll keep going up. The more that, like I said, the sweets that are coming, the more he already said they're going to do more candy, so more candy types should be coming. The Billie Eilish thing was sweet because doing that to where nobody's ever heard her music before this release, that creates a ton of demand. I've seen a lot of people on Twitter show their theaters and they've been sold out. So again, this Billie Eilish thing, not having any of that music released before, being able to hear it for the first time at a theater, that will be a really really good thing. And I think that that's again going to be going forward a step that a lot of these musicians will take. Let me pull up somebody real quick. On top of that, when we first all, got into this, there's now 56 million shares shorted of AMC. 56 million. If you don't think there's a chance of a squeeze, yeah, again, we just need these companies to get worse and worse, not be able to find credit. Again, they're going to the shadow banking at this point. They're running out of options. So, do you have any questions? I don't know what your name is. It's like a symbol.
Hey, what's up, man?
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I watched your last stream, and you said rule number 5, it takes away the fiduciary duty of the board. Where did you find that? Because to me, it looks like it's just trying to stop, Ethan lawsuits.
I've read it. I can pull up. Here. Let me get your thing. I can send you a couple sources. I don't have them right off the top of my head, but I have all of them, and I have things in folders and stuff. I can send you those sources, and then on top of that, I've asked a couple. I always ask on top of that. I look at everything to make sure I'm right. I'll get a chat AI bots. I'll ask a couple of those things. So those were breaking it down for me as well. But I do have a couple sources that I can send you. Let me pull you up quick and message you. I just sent you a DM. As soon as I get those, I'll go ahead and send those to you.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Have you ever heard of another board never having a fiduciary duty as a shareholder vote?
What do you mean, like? Do you mean like other people having this question come up?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up all over. It's all over Delaware. It came up in like a year ago or whatever. It's like 2022. Since then, there's actually hundreds and hundreds of companies that have adopted this. So it's not like AMC's anything special here. It's all these people that are out of Delaware. All of these companies are asking for it at this point. Why? I don't know. They're obviously always trying to protect themselves, and that's the thing. The one main thing about number 5 that I absolutely hate is, okay, well, if I can't sue this guy, I'm going to go after the company itself. Well, now you're looking at lawsuits towards the company instead of the individual. So it doesn't really protect them as much from Ethan lawsuits. It just protects those individuals, but now it opens up the company for that.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I see what you see. Yeah, Delaware is real shady.
Yeah.
All right, I just wanted to ask you that. Thanks.
And that's the one thing that I don't like about that is because it's like, okay, if you're passing that on to the company, these guys, these shady, people that make it like, a firm's a perfect business, example. That business is meant to fail. It's a buy now, pay later crap. On top of that, it won't hurt your credit. There's all these people already defaulting on it, and then tons more like, I have no plan to pay it back. There's nothing that's going to happen to them. But those guys made that company because they knew they could get rich the second they opened it up. Of course it was going to explode. Of course they were going to get tons and tons of people buying it. Everybody wanted to jump in because they couldn't use credit cards. Everybody suddenly maxed out on credit cards. But they knew it was going to collapse. Nobody was going to pay that back in the end. But those guys just cashed out. And I feel like there's going to be some lawsuits coming a firm's way. But the problem is if they can pass it on to the company, hold the company liable, and just go bankrupt. Oh, well, those individuals make all that money, get away with it. I just feel like it's just to protect all these fat cats, like, and fuck them. You know what I mean? Fuck them. Like, you guys you already make enough. Like, that's the thing. Everybody sits there and thinks like you have Adam Aaron's back. No, I don't have any of these guys back. I have Adam Aaron's back to the point where, all right, he's done everything I need him to do fundamentally. He's closed down all these underperforming theaters. He's added tons of revenue sources. He's kicked the middleman out everywhere. He's created distribution. I mean, it's continuous revenue. That's what I need him to do. I don't need him on there complaining every day. And all these people will go, look at these stocks. Yeah, look at them. Look at GNS. Look what happened. It flew up. Convertible notes went off. All this, these guys got rich. The stock went right back down. They started selling shares off when it went up. And now look where GNS is now. Do you remember the group that it was a part of? There was like 5 companies. Well, they all got fucked. So it's like, and now you got Trump. And it's the same thing. Retail will jump over. They back it real quick. And all of a sudden it starts loses momentum. These guys cash out. And it's just like, no, dude. You just need the company at this point. That's all we need. We just need AMC suddenly turning profits. And that's coming later in this year. I believe that's coming this quarter. I believe it's coming all next year. 2026 is looking fucking ridiculous. Like I said, you got a Lord of the Rings. You have 2 Star Wars. You have a Super Mario Brothers 2. You have a whole bunch of movies like that. I know there's a couple of like 4 or 5 other big movies that I'm missing already. But the Oscar Awards also changes everything for us because now there's going to be a whole bunch of movies that they planned that were just going to go streaming. And a lot of these actors, they're going to say, well, I need these awards to get my raises. You're either going to need to redo my contract on these Netflix, and pay me more, or you're going to have to release these in theater. So I believe a lot more content is going to be coming also next year that we haven't even heard about yet. Do you have any other questions? Sorry, I kind of went on there for a second.
No, man, this is all good. That was the only question I had. And yeah, movie's starting to roll out. We're gonna see huge box office numbers real soon.
Thank you. If you'd mind ending the call and rejoining, if somebody else wanted to ask a question, I'll bring up T-Dog real quick. T-Dog, how you doing, buddy?
Hey, outstanding. How about yourself there, Biggums?
Doing good, buddy.
Cool. Again, appreciate everything you're doing for our community, man. You're a blessing in disguise, and congrats on your little one. But I just had a simple question. I know I'm just looking forward to like some of the fruits of our inputs, like the candy sales, the credit cards, the merchandise and stuff. Are we going to eventually hear some reports on that stuff, or some numbers, or some details, or maybe that's something I should be asking Adam? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually you will hear. When he talked about those 100 million marks, I believe when you start reaching those numbers more, you'll start seeing that. I just don't think we're there yet. On top of that, like, there's a whole bunch of reasons you don't want to release it, but one of the things is you don't want to give your competitors an advantage or release those numbers, let them know what's going on as well. So I think we will hear them eventually, but I don't think we're going to hear anything about the credit card numbers. I don't think credit cards are as massive as a revenue source as people think. So I don't think it's ever going to generate enough to where they need to report it.
Okay. I guess maybe one other thing. Do you think? I mean, we all know the deal. What kind of corruption is going on with our play? Do you think maybe they've got something working in the back to keep an eye on things, or just whatever actions or chess moves they're doing, they're taking note of, and maybe hopefully something's going forward legally? That's my only other question. Maybe just a part of your opinion or for your perspective.
Wait. Ask that part one more time. Ask that one more time.
Do you think they maybe Adam Aaron and the board has something in the works in the back legally about all the corrupt stuff that's going on? You know, that they're doing their moves on purpose. You know, doing equity capital raises at certain times. Just the moves they're making in general. Do you think maybe hopefully they got something legally working for it?
Yeah, I mean, what they could be doing. I mean, they've contacted. They said they've sent letters, contacted the SEC and things like that, and the exchanges. But I think what a lot of people now are going to do is kind of wait, sit back a little bit, see if anything happens with this Trump investigation, see if they really do have that information. And, here's the thing: if you can have another company go pay for it, fight the battle, do all that for you, and then get the results you want and show you the path, if you don't have that much money, why spend it on something that you could lose when you can watch another person show you the way first? So I think they're going to kind of wait, sit back, keep collecting things. Like I said, they've obviously collected something to where they've sent it to the SEC. You don't just, oh, we have this and we just believe we're getting. No, they said it for a reason. They probably sent information backing it to the SEC. A lot of people think they just send just a letter, but it's like, no, they probably sent a letter and said, here's our proof and here's what we think and here's why we think this. So they're definitely looking at stuff in the background. I just think that they're also seeing all these companies, complain about it, go say we're going after it, and then again, like I said, with those other 6 companies, they're all down just as bad. They're all watching it do the same thing, and I just don't think, maybe with covenants, maybe with sponsorships, he's not trying to burn any bridges with sponsors or lose anything out like that for now. And again, he's just like, all right, well, if Trump can go get him, show me the way, let's do it after. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. I figured that. And that's it for me, though, Biggums. I again appreciate everything you do, everything for us, man. Thanks.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Appreciate it, my friend. And then again, if you guys after speaker, just end the call, rejoin quick, and I'm gonna pull up the next person. 1 second here, quick. But how you doing, Daddy?
Biggums,
What's up, buddy?
congrats on your fam.
Thank you, thank you.
And thank you for, making this understandable to the point that I can keep up.
Hey
you,
man, we all
uh,
need to be in this together. They obviously have more
you're,
money than us, but we got more than them. So if we don't all understand
you're,
it, we ain't gonna win.
you're very thorough, and I appreciate that. And I've said from the beginning that the biggest mistake they made was they gave us the time to educate.
I agree.
And you have been a huge pillar in that realm. So thank you.
Appreciate that, my friend.
Um, I'm in the last earnings call. The thing that I was most inspired by was the idea that Adam Aaron has now understood that what he holds is the key to an entertainment center. It's not just a movie theater, it's an entertainment center. Because now with Netflix and all Apple TV and all of these other firms getting into the production realm, uh, it makes sense that they're all going to have to run it through the big screens. And it seems like Adam is poising the company to create as much of its own goods as possible at a cost that is lowest while maintaining quality,
Yes, sir.
cutting out the
Do you have any questions
middleman.
at all, buddy?
What's that?
Did you have any questions at all?
No, I just wanted to know if we were in agreement when it comes to the magnitude of this, because you know, like with the awards, aren't they going to have to acknowledge screenplay? I mean, don't aren't isn't this leading to them bringing everything to the theaters?
Yeah, that's what I think. I mean, otherwise they're gonna have having to pay actors more money to do movies specifically for your releases only because they're not gonna be able to get an award for it. So I mean,
Right.
definitely gonna help us. That's what I'm saying. We already we're gonna be profitable in 2025, and a whole bunch more releases should be coming from this news. And on top of that, you got to figure more and more awards are going to team up with us, and not just the I think it was the Golden Globes or whatever it was. They should all end up doing that. You would believe.
Right. Well, thank you for what you do. And I just wanted to make sure I was hearing what I was hearing correctly. And it sounds like it's exactly what I'm hearing.
Yes, sir. Good things
Uh,
ahead, my friend. Yeah, of course. Thank you. I appreciate your question. Thank you for coming up.
be well.
All right, I'm trying to pull someone else up. 1 second here. There we go. Asian, how are you doing, buddy?
Am I muted?
No. Oh yeah, you
Can you
were.
hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now. How
Okay,
you doing,
cool,
buddy?
cool. Hey, man, just want to say again, thank you for everything that you do, all the research that you put out, all the videos that you produce. I know they're a little long format and people like their information to be shorter and more digestible, but if they take the time to listen to your stuff, they're going to become vastly more educated on market inner workings than any of the people around them. But so thank you so much again for making it so easily digestible and just keeping us all informed. Question though, I I'm still struggling with the concept. I read all the DD. I'm more in GameStop than AMC, but still, I I don't under I still am struggling with the concept of MOAS. I want MOAS. I'm rooting for MOAS. I'm all in for MOAS. Like literally, I have a ton of shares of GameStop, but how are they going to pay for MOAS? I don't, when they all go bankrupt, how are they going to fucking pay for it?
Well, I mean, the concept of MOAS at this point, it seems like, well, okay, because here's the thing what I said about MOAS. Before, you'd always get a short squeeze. You might get one or two or three people in there. And for us to get a MOAS, like an actual MOAS, that's the path that I believe we're on. Because we have all of these guys. They're all on the same hill. They're all in the shadow banks. So now what you're going to have is these shadow banks, family offices. They're going to end up paying for a ton of this because they're involved. They're lending. You're going to have a ton of these banks end up paying. They're going to end up having to sell a ton of these assets. They're going to have to. They're going to. That's all they're going to be able to do. In the end of the day, the feds can't go ahead and bail them out again. These guys are completely over leveraged to the point where I show people that J.P. Morgan's over leveraged 1.2 trillion. They're going to have to start closing down a lot of these. If these bankers are getting called on too, they're going to end up having to go to these firms. These firms are going to end up closing down because they're going to have to start selling off assets and assets and assets. And the way you get a MOAS is you put them all on the same hill. You start it on fire and you watch it burn. And that's pretty much what's happening is they're all relying on AI. They're all relying on NVIDIA. Well, we've already shown everybody with CoreWeave and all those other, subsidiary companies, that's all a scam. They're buying their own chips and calling it revenue. They're going out there and they're saying, all right, we're going to put all this money in CoreWeave, or we're going to go ahead and put this, we're going to the CoreWeave will start up. They'll basically start up a shell company. Then they'll invest into the shell company. But then that shell company just goes ahead and buys all their chips with it. So basically, NVIDIA is buying their own chips, but they're doing it through a sub company. And then, that sub company, now they're going, hey, we got this evaluation. NVIDIA jumped in it. So all these other, companies go jump into the sub company in their evaluation right away. Well, they're not going to perform that way. They're not going to perform because they don't have the backing that they think. People think NVIDIA gave us a $2 billion, injection. Well, in reality, they ended up giving them, 800 million, X amount in chips, and then X amount in like, hey, we'll help you in the future. You won't have to pay us for any of this help, but they'll end up charging you like 500 million worth of help. So it's for like the rest of your life. So it's like these guys will overvaluate it, and then they sit, like I said, now what NVIDIA can do is be like, look at all this demand for a fucking. Oh, sorry, I'm not trying to swear today, because I'm trying to save work on it for my next video. But they're like, hey, look at this, look at all this revenue and look at all this demand for our product, so we have to raise prices, and that's why all these GPUs still to this day, they're skyrocketed. They're still way above where they should be. And again, all these companies they're not going to make what they're actually generating. On top of that, they're doing supply chain financing. So not only are they giving that money to them, what they'll end up doing is do a supply chain finance through a bank. So Nvidia will go to a bank, and instead of just directly giving it to them, they'll do a contract again with the bank. So the thing is these guys have contracts and contracts and contracts, and they're all sitting there intertwined. You just had to light the fuse to get the right, it had basically you're at the bomb. You just had to cut the right wire that led to all of them going, and getting them all on the same hill, forcing them all into shadow banking, forcing these banks to. This is why for 3 years, like I said, I don't care what stock anyone's in. You know who the culprits are. Get the fuck out of them. It's J.P. Morgan. Their lifeline is your deposits. Take your deposits out. Guess what? If everyone took their deposits out, J.P. Morgan would die tomorrow. It's that simple. They're living off the 2.3 trillion in deposits they have. So the way you defeat these guys is, like I said, it's always been cut the head off the snake. It's not just go after one guy and hope a squeeze comes and all of a sudden, hey, we went to $80. No, we want, all right, you guys have 56 million showing, but how many do you have in swaps? How many do you have over here? Because this is the thing, and this is why I destroy Doug Sifu every time he talks to me, and when we bring up ISDA. How many of these swaps or exemptions have you used, and then put them over here and mismarked them as shorts, as longs? And this is why they're so scared of the cat system. A lot of these market makers are mismarking shorts as longs and then using them as fills for locates later on. And it's an incorrect thing. And that's why I'm always like, when the SEC and them give this stuff out, I'm like, okay, so I'm glad you find them, but did you make them buy the shares back? Because I didn't see any spike jump. So I didn't see any price raise. So that's one of the things that I've always wanted to ask an SEC official. Hey, I'm glad you find them and everything, but I never see the price rise. And at some point, you guys just told me that they stole hundreds of millions of shares. Shouldn't they have to buy those fucking back? Or what happens with those? But that's the thing. They have all these obligations, but again, they're all so intertwined. When you take a couple down, it affects so many, and that's when it becomes a domino effect. But again, it all starts at cutting off the top, the head of the snake, and that's all these banks. And this commercial real estate of $1 trillion should sure help out with that.
Okay, that's all well and good, but again, how the heck are they going to pay for all this? They got all that money stashed in the Cayman Islands. We know that. They got all these derivatives. They got all these swaps, but all those derivatives isn't real. It's not real money. The Fed is buying back their own treasury bonds, which is a terrible signal because no foreign nation wants it. Foreign nations are no longer starting to buy American USD debt because they know it's a fucking gong show, as you would say. So, like, if they're
You do got to
how are you
remember,
going
my
to get
friend, they
these
did
people
print.
to relinquish their money?
You got to remember, they did print $6 trillion, and probably about 2.5 to 3 trillion went offshores. And if they all start getting margin, if they all start getting blown up and blown up over here, that money's eventually going to have to come back. So that's pretty much where that's going to come, is from the printing of COVID.
Do you think that the regulatory authorities are going to force these billionaires to pull their money out of the Cayman Islands and pay the people that they're owed for the securities sold not yet purchased?
No, but I believe that if I don't believe it's going to be the regulators. I believe it's going to be the bankers that are going to start calling up from these guys. Because if I'm a banker and I'm a firm and suddenly, I owe this bank this much money and I have this X amount of money funneled offshore, it's just like Microsoft, what they did with, Mexico over there. If I have all this money funneled offshore and suddenly a bank, I don't give a shit about a regulator. That's what I've said forever. They're not coming. It's going to end up being why I'm happy with the CAT system is eventually we can start suing the SEC because, hey, you have it at your fingertips. But when a bank comes up to you, it's just like me and you. They don't care. If a bank comes up to you, I don't give a shit where you get your money. I need it tomorrow. I need it now. So the banks, that's why I've always said, you guys, you go for the banks because the banks are the lenders. So now these people that have this money sitting over shores, and their lenders come up and say, "I'm going to start taking parts of your company." Well, fuck that. I'm not going to lose parts of my company. I'm going to just take this money I funneled onto here, and I'm going to start giving it over to you. That's how you start bringing it back. Is you start getting their lenders mad. It's all about the rich. The rich are coming after the rich, coming after the rich. That's why I'm saying you want to start at the top, because they don't give a shit about us. They don't care about regulators, but they do care about the people that basically would own their entire company through convertible notes, through all their debt, through their bonds, through everything else. They do care about them because, like I said, they'll take everything. They will.
Well,
A bank's not going to hesitate. They will take action.
well, you said go for the top, but at the same time, I'm hearing a different story of the domino effect, where the smaller regional banks start to fail from all of the commercial mortgage-backed obligated debt securities. Once those are way underwater right now, and the Fed is, I think I saw on a video, like the Fed is basically giving them, notes at face value, even though they've gone down in value significantly. So that's a form of a bailout, without calling it a bailout.
Of course.
And now you got the Fed buying back its own bonds, which is printing its own money and then buying back its own bonds. That's
At a
stealing
higher
tax
rate,
dollars from
stupid
future
estimating.
generations. Like you're saying, they're going to be. We're already in a pretty high inflation environment right now, because of all this. But if MOAS does trigger, we are going to see hyperinflation. So in essence, wouldn't that make even if we get a MOAS, wouldn't that make our dollars fucking worthless?
I mean, you're going to end up getting that eventually anyways. They just talked about also doing, 1 second here. Where was it? Let me pull it up. They just talked about selling less bonds and doing more rollovers, and basically they're going to end up printing anyways an extra 420 billion a year. So they say it's a concern, but they don't care. In the end of the day, here's the thing: when the bomb blows up, it's not like they're going to be like, "Oh, fuck inflation." They're going to look over and say, "Well, I want my money because he needs it, and he needs his money, and he needs his money," and that's going to be the end of it. They're not going to care what happens to the economy. And in the end of the day, I mean, this MOAS, even if we get paid out, I don't think it's gonna. It doesn't mean they're going to need to print more money. It means they're going to need to take the money that they funneled out and bring it back in. So I don't believe that would cause inflation. I believe that would re-stimulate your economy, which would help their bigger corporations. In the end of the day, it would always help them because they're always still rich. You don't need to print more. You just need to bring back what you stole and start paying that back. So you're not printing more to cause hyperinflation. So I don't really see that, like I said, unless suddenly even if they bailed out the couple banks, eventually, like I said, inflation, they're not going to be able to control it either way. But again, if you're bringing back money that's already printed and funneled out, that actually should help inflation and help your economy instead of hurt it and cause more.
All right, you're right about that. I mean, it's coming down to the point where it's a transference of wealth, and we know that the bad guys don't want that. The hedge funds don't want that. The billionaires don't want that. The government doesn't want that because the government gets paid by these billionaires, and they're comfortable getting their pockets lined. So why would they? Why would they possible to circumvent a transference of wealth? Because that essentially that control of the money printer and their vast quantities of wealth is their strings to control the economy and the people and maintain power. Why would they relinquish their power? Like they're not going to allow that to happen. Not that they can stop it, but
Because
maybe
they're
they
not going to
can. If they
relinquish.
were to be able to stop it, how?
Well, the thing is, well, I'm sorry, I missed half your question because your mic did cut out. But they're not relinquishing power, and that's how they got you. They'll relinquish some power, but in the end of the day, they'll re-stimulate the economy. And guess what? They already have all the money. They already have everything. And any new printed money, like I showed you before, it's a Cantillon effect. any new money, they're going to go out and they'll get richer and richer and richer. So any single time, if they have to give a little to make everybody back at ease, if tension gets too high, if too many people figure it out, if too many people revolt, if your plan, it's a giant Ponzi scheme, and too many people find out, eventually they're going to stop being in the Ponzi scheme. So what they'll do is they could go ahead and let a MOAS type thing be like, all right, well, like AMC example, they could maybe go, all right, well, let's let it jump up or whatever, and then say, all right, well, these guys are good. Now these guys think again that they won, but in the end of the day, we're still in control of the government. We're still in control of this, and we didn't really have to. We printed all this money. We funneled a ton of it offshore. Yeah, we brought most of it back, but there's still hundreds of billions that's offshore that we still have that we can now buy back. Because again, here's the thing. Let's say I bring all that money back. Let's say it re-stimulates the economy. Let's say prices drop again. Now that money that they have overseas, they can, that hundreds of billions, they can now, after re-stimulating the economy and re-brought prices down, they can rebuy with all that money, all those assets again, cheaper, and then print again. And since they get the newly printed money, guess what? It goes right to them. They get to buy assets first, and by the time it hits us, it's inflation. So again, they'll always stay richer and they'll always stay above. And you might think that that's giving us power by giving us some money. No, because eventually the way the system is guess what? That money will flow right back to them. It's just a matter of time.
So if that's the case, then and again, if it comes down to there's got to be a way to decentralize the currency. And I know that you're not like a big Bitcoin kind of person, but uh, blockchain seems to be the solution. But you're saying that Bitcoin is being used as collateral um, against as swap collateral against AMC and GME. Well, now they have the rule in effect where you can't use cryptocurrency as collateral. And I haven't really seen Bitcoin take that big of a hit. It's still hovering at 62,000, between 61,000 and 63,000 right now.
Yeah, but I can explain that
You know,
right now. That's easy. So what ended up happening is when you saw it crash to 55,000, what ended up doing is they were selling that crypto off, selling that crypto off. And like I told everybody, when that crypto crashes, guess what? Who's gonna love it? The bank custodials. All of these custodials that are supposed to be holding Bitcoin, well, they're holding it up at 50, $62,000. Guess what? When it hit 55,000, all those custodial banks just averaged down. And now it's holding right back up because they bought it back up, but all of them just made hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions by averaging down in their custodial. And guess who they went to? All the people that had those assets went right to the bank. Hey, went right to the custodials. Hey, here's this. Let's sell this off at this and blah, blah, blah. So that's why Bitcoin went right back up. The one thing I've said about Bitcoin is they're going to control it always to benefit the big guys right now. They're going to keep dropping it down and it'll go to about 50,000. I see a point at one point where it goes down to about 45,000, and they're going to sit there and keep averaging down and it'll come back up. So like I've told people with Bitcoin, I believe the best way to play Bitcoin right now is volatility. Play the shit out of the volatility of it. But the thing is with, you're talking about, being on blockchain and stuff. Blockchain's definitely not the answer. I've shown people tons and tons of ways to get around blockchain. There's chameleon editing. There's actually private blockchains that you can attach to a blockchain and have other things operate off of that blockchain. And T0 was a perfect example. See, like Mark Cahoes, when he first came out trying to peddle his bullshit, I'm like, dude, oh, it's on blockchain. I go, yeah, but you're also not talking about the private blockchain that's attached to it that only your fucking people that, invested in your company have access to. And one of them, Citadel. So in other words, Citadel has access to your private blockchain. They can do things in that private blockchain, and you can use chameleon editing, or the people who created the blockchain themselves have the ability to edit blockchain, and you won't even know it's happening. So, yeah, crypto's a way, blockchain, it's a great thing, but there's still plenty of. Here's the thing: they always find a way. Hackers and criminals, they always find a way to get around these systems. So I believe crypto is a great thing. We need a way to get out of these corrupt fiats. They're all fucking scam. They're all Ponzi scheme. We need a way out. But of course, when Bitcoin was there, now they got their hands in it. Like I said, they'll keep it where they need it to be at any point. And if they need it to go down, it'll go down. But like I have nothing against Bitcoin or any crypto. I believe crypto is a great way for us to get out. And I've told people to get into cryptos and, commodities and land and things like that of hard assets. And when the dollar collapses, that's why I've been saying that. Like you were talking about, if the dollar collapses, well, they're going to have to bring that money over. And or if the dollar does collapse, you got gold, you got crypto, you got land. Does it really affect you? No, you can probably sell it and make more. Or, that's the thing. So just make sure you're safe in all situations in the end of the day. But I'm going to pull up another
been
speaker,
able
my
to.
friend, if you don't mind.
All right, sorry.
No, you're good.
One last question. When are we going to start seeing results from the CAT system? Thank you.
Well, just so you know, CAT system is a retroactive type system. So the second it goes live, that's when it'll start tracking. They were supposed to send them previous data, but we all know the previous data was incorrect or lied, or there was self-reported data. So there will be stuff missing from the CAT system right away. But going forward, at that point, any crime or any fraud that's committed, the second it goes live fully, they should be caught right then and there if the SEC wants to find it. It's all about who they're looking at, if they want to find it. But the number one thing the SEC complained about why they couldn't go after the big guys is because it was so time costly to go through all their records and send out the employees and look through this and that. And well, guess what? They'll have it right at their fingertips at the cost of free. So they should be able to go after these big guys right away too. So it's all about if they want to. But I can't answer that because who knows what the SEC will ever do.
All right. Thanks so much, man. Keep on keeping on. I appreciate you. A lot of people do. Have a good one.
Appreciate it, man. Have a good day. I'm going to bring up the next person here. We got Michael. We get to a couple more here. We'll go to like 1:45. My wife's sleeping, so I got more time. And then Asian, if you could, want to exit and then rejoin the chat, my friend. Appreciate it. I thought I approved Michael. Let's retry. Michael, are you there? Maybe you're not connecting. Let me look at YouTube here a little bit. When squeeze is when, like I said, man, when the dominoes start to fall and the banks start to collect because they need the money, and they'll be needing it very soon. Like I said, trust me. A lot of people think it's just these middle banks. Hundreds of millions or hundreds of billions is still going to hit these big banks too. All right. Michael is not able to come up for some reason. Let me try Nick. All right. Pull someone else up here quick. In the meantime, until they connect, let me see what we got going on YouTube. Like Paul said, they'll pay out MOAS digitally. I don't think, I mean, that's the thing. The way they'll pay it out digitally through the stock market, the way that they've always funneled their crime here. I don't know what's going on here. Apparently, I can't approve anybody, so unless these guys are no longer asking, I just approved everybody. Let's see if what's going on. I can't approve any speakers. Let me hit refresh. So I had to reconnect. Apparently, my unless these guys are no longer asking, I just approved everybody. Let's see if. All right, let's try this again. All right, anybody wants to come up, please.
There we go.
There we go. How you doing, buddy? No, I can't hear you.
Crap, now I can't hear you.
There we go. I think I'm lagging out. All right. Are we good? I think I'm lagging out here.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
Sorry about that.
Hey, thanks for following up. Yeah, something you said was interesting. You said a little bit earlier about how is like whether the SEC notices it or they don't notice it. And something I've been diving into lately is looking into Virtu Financial's their accounting. And I mean, we all know it's all Fugazi, but there's definitely some real Fugazi in there. And so I first noticed that they had on their balance sheet, like they would be upside down in their assets versus liabilities if there wasn't this mysterious $1.1 billion worth of goodwill assets.
Yeah, I
which is
saw that.
just yeah. So is hilarious. But then like I was like, I mean, we all know they have all these purchased or sold, not yet repurchased shares. And but I think that one thing that maybe we don't see as much is that they're writing those down as a lower value because they're writing them at fair market value. So if they owe a bunch of AMC shares or a bunch of GME shares, what do you think that they're going to write it down at its fair market value as, compared to what the actual share price is or actually what it should be if it wasn't drowned in infinite liquidity? And so what I realized is like all of this fugazi that they're using to just blatantly steal from us is enabled by the auditors. And, the big four, it was kind of interesting. Out of the big four, I've noticed that all the ones that are, at least right now, in the middle of like all the corruption is actually like Price Waterhouse Cooper. And they're auditing JP Morgan, they're auditing Virtu, who is an affiliate of JP Morgan, they're auditing Citadel, they're auditing FTX. I mean, it goes on and on. And so I think that, that's like the main part of how they are manipulating everything is they're just like Enron, they're just fudging their numbers. And I think that one way that we could possibly advocate for change that would be pretty doable is that eventually the people rose up and they wanted a long time ago they wanted to limit big banks' power, and so they put a rule where a bank couldn't own more than 10% of the depositors.
And JP Morgan
And
just broke that.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's like, oh, what a coincidence that they came in and quote unquote saved the day by getting and they think that no one noticed, right? But people like you and me noticed and feel passionate about it. I could sense it in your
Yeah,
voice.
it was definitely a
Uh,
loophole they found.
yeah, and it's like that they had this cap, and it's just mysteriously it's like, oops, like, and we know that they were all high wealth like investor or depositors in First Republic Bank. And so we know that they could have easily rugged it at the right moment where no one would pay attention, and then they could just over the weekend just take it. Not to mention they actually made $50 billion shorting it down, and who knows how much more naked shorting it down. But I think that one rule that we could do is just try to implement a rule of like that the accounting firms and the consulting firms shouldn't be allowed to be working with more than 10% of the public companies. I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, I would love something like that because, I mean, look, even in the mortgage-backed security crisis in 2008, it's always the auditors. They'll give you better ratings than you should. They obviously shown in the past they can be bought off. Um, that's the thing. And then most of these big auditing companies have violations like crazy. So I would love something like that. And I mean, the way we could do something like that is talk to Dave Lauer. One thing I wanted more people I wish would do is support Dave Lauer, and like I don't ever post a company or anything, but as Irvin Finance, it's like, dude, they actually talk to the SEC. They get meetings with the SEC. They've made changes. They've shown rules that they've passed, and they have the ability to get in there. And I wish we'd had more people that would back Dave Lauer and we the investor. And it's like, to me, it blows my mind. Anybody would tell me at all that Dave Lauer is a shill or anything. Dave Lauer's been fighting. He's one of the Flash boys. He's been fighting this longer than you've been alive. Like anybody, and he's never changed his tone. And it's like he knows all the stuff. And it's like, and if you think I have good information, a lot of the stuff I've learned is from Dave Lauer. And it's like I feel like that's a massive tool that retail doesn't use. And it's like everyone's all divided, and it's like, no, this is still retail's biggest problem. It's like this is why I try and make videos just for everyone to understand. This is why I'm making this video here, in a week or two. That's just gonna be like, all right, just play this video. It'll be like my last speech to Ploop, but it's gonna be showing everything, what these guys are doing, what's happening. Anyone can understand. It's just like, you guys, we're all getting destroyed here. America is getting destroyed. Your future for your children is getting destroyed, and it's been doing it forever. But now suddenly COVID gave them an excuse to do it by 6 trillion plus. They took 6 trillion, printed it, cantillion it affected it right into the stock market, which eventually blew up into 10 trillion worth of assets and value. So again, it's like funneled off, and like I was answering to the last guy, I believe, like I said, that money's got to come back into the economy. It has no choice. But the only way it's ever going to come back is we have to unite. We have to show everybody this is how they're doing it. They're hiding it all through the stock market. It's not corruption, but the problem is again, they censor everything. A perfect example. So that New York Bancorp, that $1 billion went in. The only reason why that Munchkin guy, and it played out perfectly, and I said it right when the second that fucking deposit went in, I'm like, dude, they used that $1 billion to get access to the bank, and what they were gonna do is use the government to strong arm Twitter, or I'm sorry, not Twitter, strong arm TikTok. And then what this Munchkin guy was going to do after he bought that bank, he was going to use all the customer deposits to back and buy Twitter or TikTok. Sorry, I keep saying Twitter. So he's going to use all those deposits, other people's money, to buy fucking TikTok. And then right after that, not even a week later, he was the main bidder in TikTok, and he was the one the government wanted to do it. And it's like, but now suddenly they're just, it's not going their way. Bancorp's losing. They're losing their stocks, losing value. Again, that $1 billion was nothing. They're just going to burn through that in a second. That doesn't cover any of their, what they owe right now. It does not even close. They're still way underwater. So it's like, it's the only thing that made sense. But this is the problem is, we got to start using our tools, or again, just educate everybody and stop being like, and like Ethan, that like cancel the close culture guy or whatever, Ian. I like Ian, but it's like suddenly next thing you notice, he didn't want to talk to me because I have an AMC in my name, and it's like, who gives a shit? AMC right now is a small picture in the end of the day on what is happening in the United States. You have a banking mafia who has stolen everyone's everything, all your retirements, your children's future, and again, inflation is all they're gonna get in the devalued dollar. And look at how it is now, a housing market they'll never be able to afford. And it's like I said, the entire way of living, the American dream now goes from, can I even own a house? It's just gone. Like I said, it's just, we've let these guys and these politicians get away with it, and all it takes is one bribe, and it doesn't even cost them anything, because all they need to do is just give them a little insider information, and Nancy Pelosi and all these guys will vote whatever way they want.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. I mean, one, I think, I can't speak for Ian. I just recently met him in person, though. I don't know if I mean, he gets a lot of DMs. So, I mean, I don't know if he didn't DM back or whatnot. I don't think he's against AMC. I think he's very for retail shareholders and all the corruption.
About a salsa, I don't know.
Well, so I think it's kind of hard, like, for example, even, like Bed Bath and Beyond, for example, has been a very, I mean, one thing that unites all of us is all of us were, I mean, there was AMC, Bed Bath, and GameStop tokens on FTX and Binance, right? Like billions of dollars worth. And so those were even before meme stocks became a thing, and they were bought by institutions and used as locates and all this stuff. So they were already like, so the fraud there was already there. And if they ever unravel that FTX fraud, which I think they are soon, because the Chapter 11 for FTX is coming to a close. And so, I mean, there's been differences on like which one is the strongest play, because people have limited money. I've come in and out of AMC. I think you guys are all great. I think what you're doing is great. I think it's other things about it, right? Like I haven't had the time. I wasn't even here during the original AMC squeeze or even the GME squeeze. Like I came in very late, but got very passionate about it very quick. And so I think that there's just questions about like leadership, and some people would just kind of prefer Ryan Cohen. And, I mean, I know for me, for example, like as I've been trying to track down the fraud, like I've noticed the Council on Foreign Relations seems to be kind of centered to that. And so like the fact that Adam Aaron's on the Council of Foreign Relations is just like a little bit hard to swallow, but I haven't put it in a lot of DD. And So I'm trying to like more heal the gap between everyone, because like I know who the real enemy is. Even if I'm not sure um if Adam Aaron is the best CEO, like I still think AMC is definitely undervalued, and I think that there's tons of short interest there that's hidden, and I think that the community behind it is amazing. So I think the real enemy is people like Doug Sifu and people like Ken Griffin and people like Gary Gensler, who, guess what? He ties them all together because, his connections to FTX and FTX connection to all the tokenized shares and, Virtu's connection. So it's like, that's why Doug Sifu is after all of us and harassing all of us, is because he knows that like the main scam he's doing was he stole from us specifically.
Yeah.
And so I kind of, I wish we could kind of more just align over what are the most important things. And for me right now, it's like actually just like, I want Virtu to be audited. I want them to actually, I don't want them to give a sample of their holdings to like their CFO who worked for PricewaterhouseCoopers, it was really high up in it. Like he gives a sample to the auditors, and then they, as Doug Sifu said, they opine on it, right? They give their opinion on it, but they get to curate the sample that they read, and then they're like, oh, that looks good, and then they sign it. And so there's like these huge conflicts of interest, and I think that just one, if we can get Virtu to be audited, that would expose everything, and
Well,
that
that's
would
the
start
thing,
by
man.
just
Like,
saying,
that's
yeah.
the thing, man. So, I don't know if you saw that court case, a little bit ago, and I was telling everybody this is our Adam bond, and we still haven't used it. That one court case found that if brokers are using our shares, are sending it to a person who's using those shares, in a criminal way, the broker is held liable. And this is one thing I said we should all do. And nobody backed me. And I'm like, dude, you guys want to win? This is how you win. We all need to get a giant group together. GME, BBBY, fucking AMC, COS. I don't care. Every single stock we can possibly get together. We all need to come together, join a space. It needs to have 10,000 fucking people. I don't care. We all need to agree, all right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go after a broker. Pick whatever one. Fidelity, Robinhood, I don't give a fuck. Whatever we all agree on, whatever is all more used by us during that time, which I suggest Robinhood. So now we already know Robinhood will send it to the bad actors. We know they do payment for order flow. We know Citadel does bad things with it. We know Virtue does bad things with it. So by doing the lawsuit that we all could do against a broker, that opens up discovery, which now they will have to go in to the market makers and see if they use those shares incorrectly. And I've told everybody, why the fuck haven't we done this yet? And it's the same thing. It's like, well, who's gonna, and like that's the thing. It's like, let's pretend I did a GoFundMe. Hey guys, let's do a GoFundMe so I can talk to some lawyers and get this going. Every community would say I'm just out to keep this money and this and that and this and that, and that's one of the main problems. Like you said, it's like no one trusts anybody. If I, like I said, if I did it, I would have 10,000 fucking videos on YouTube the next day. Oh my god, look at Amcbiggums. I told you, he was just in this for the money. When it's like, no, every goddamn penny would go into a lawyer's, and if I whatever's not used, I'll just send it back. I don't give a fuck. I don't
Yeah,
need,
but you can't listen to the voice of the haters, right? Like, because that's the problem is there's so much money on the line here. They have trillions of dollars worth of assets sold, not yet purchased, like around the world. Like it's all Fugazi. And so they have enough money to pay a bunch of shills to bash everyone and try and make people stop. I mean, people, Pulte gave me $10,000 um, to go after my shareholder rights as far as Bed Bath and Beyond, right? And I ended up being able to talk to the plan administrator, put a demand letter, and it's like, look, if you don't actually pursue these items, like I'm going to sue you, right? So, I've gotten like a lot of crap from that, but you know what? Like at this point, I've only been in a short time, but I was like, at this point, if someone doesn't trust me by now, they're never going to trust me. And I know who trusts me, and nothing changed. And so I mean, I don't know you super well, but I'm guessing a lot of people feel the same way. If it's been 3 years and they've known you for 3 years, I don't think that they would suddenly think you were a grifter. But that's just my thoughts.
No, I hear you. I listen. That's my problem. I listen to those people a little too much compared to other people supporting us. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, dude, I don't care. Anytime retail wins, we all win. In the end of the day, we're the grasshopper. Or they're the grasshoppers. We're the ants, dude. That's why I always use that bug life reference. Our forefathers, they've all told us that this was going to happen. They even told us that these banks are more powerful than any standing army, and they were right. So it's like this was all predicted, and all of a sudden it's coming true, and you have people right in front of their eyes. It's happening, and they're going, "No, it's not." It's like, dude, yeah, it is. The only problem is they control all the media, and just like I showed people today, the reason I wanted to show people this today about the Kim Kardashian shit on Netflix. So I don't know if you saw some. It's just something as simple as that, but nobody would have ever known. So on the live version, everybody booed the shit out of her, and then Netflix went ahead and they edited it, and all of a sudden she walks up, and all of a sudden, oh, it's clapping. Now any normal person, or what we call the sheeple that don't understand any of this going on, or just blind to it, or want to be, they're just going to think that everyone clapped for Kim Kardashian and people like Kim Kardashian when everybody truly hated her. She had no business being in there. What the fuck does Kim Kardashian have to do with Tom Brady? It's nothing. It's their agenda. It's their propaganda. And again, they edited something as simple as a Netflix film.
And that's why, I think that X is going to be powerful because, as Elon gets rid of all the bots and you can see real engagements, and I think that it's becoming more and more powerful. And that's why, I mean, we should kind of look out for, each person should try and make as good a content as they could. I have like this, I put it in the nest, like some Virtue DD. It's a quote tweet of, or a quote tweet of a quote tweet of just all and I have some more that I'm going to add to it when I get home. Uh, but you know, I'm I tag the SEC. It's like, okay, I want to make sure that they see it, and I want everyone to know, that it's like there's a huge conflict of interest, right? Like if the SEC isn't doing something about it, like it's like, look, we have this case. There is a clear conflict of interest. Someone from a company was the CEO of, like, the CFO of the company that they were auditing, right? So it's like you can't have that. Plus, there's all these other employees, ones that worked at Virtu, then at PwC, or they worked at PwC and then at Virtu, like that. That should not be allowed at all.
Yeah,
Um,
look at the DTCC, the SEC. Hester Pierce worked for an anti-regulation fucking corporation, and now she's on the SEC. You have how many ex-bankers or bankers on the DTCC, on the SEC, on all of these FINRA. The conflict of interest is everywhere. It's just a joke.
it is a joke, and I think that, like, but we're finally realizing, like you're saying, because they can change the ratings, they can change the perception. But I think the X is going to make it to where it's like, oh, a lot of people really do believe this, right? Like that we don't have to necessarily march on Wall Street for them to know, like, oh, there's a lot of them and not as many of us. I mean, because you think, like, for example, Doug Sifu, right? Like, he has all these minions, right? And it's like hilarious to, like, someone's been going through recently and seen, like, Doug Sifu, who he ends up, like, replying to the most. I actually made it towards the top, which I was proud of. Um, and then there was all these other minions in there that are also commenting, immediately. And, so it's like they're not real people. And most of them, it's like maybe it's a few people that each has several accounts. I mean, I see people with, like, making these comments like as if they've been in, Bed Bath forever and blah, blah, and like how I've let them down or whatever. And it's like they have like a brand new account made that day. And it's like, that's just because I blocked your other one yesterday. Like, it's pathetic. So, I mean, I think our real voices, we need to, like, yeah, look out for messages, even in cross communities, right? Like I've been trying to, I don't have a ton of time, or any extra money, I guess, to dedicate towards AMC as much as I know it's going to pop off. Like I'm just kind of stuck there, I guess. But like I'm excited for everything the community is doing and the voices that are getting even more concise and clear with the message and understanding the fraud even better. And I think that, maybe if what you want to do is go after a brokerage, like write it up in a letter and then just see what people say. And then maybe people do want to donate money. I mean, I have some GameStop calls that are hitting pretty hard, so maybe I'll donate some money
Yeah,
if you do
I
it.
guess. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I guess I'm just nervous to do it, just because like I just don't want it to. I guess I don't know. I mean, like you said, we got to do something, man. At this point, we got to take
But
action.
if you write it up, like write up the demand letter, like what you want, and it's like, okay, well, I mean, it's you can even get free consulting from different firms and be like, hey, this is what I have, what would it cost, right? For me, I talked to like quite a few different firms, and one was really big, and he's like, I really like what you're doing, but he's like, like it's like $500,000 to even start this process. So he sent me to someone else. He's like, this guy actually might even be better. So anyway, I mean, I think that just writing up exactly what you would be doing, and who knows, maybe there's other legal people that could, it wouldn't cost as much money. I mean, filing certain things is very cheap actually.
Well, yeah, and like you said, and then on top of that, it's like it might just take one lawsuit because if let's say we do win, let's say we do go after one broker, let's say we do get that, uh, they get to look into market makers and all that stuff. Maybe the brokers will start changing, payment for order flow. Suddenly, they're liable for all their payment for order flow.
Like, I mean, also say you write it up exactly what you want to do, like what fraud we're going to find when we find it, and the reason, rationale behind why you believe that. And then if all the communities get together and we all share it, right? And you just be like, hey, what one of you politicians wants to be reelected and wants to help see this through, right? Because there's multiple avenues. There's, the avenue of just straight up legal, but there's also the political avenue. And I mean, if the politicians that are going to be up for reelection realize like, oh, like this is a chance, like our constituents, like this could be the difference between winning the race and losing the race. I mean, it might kind of force their hand to actually do their job and bring some accountability to Wall Street.
Yeah, and yeah, and I mean, I believe this path's also different than like everybody going like, here, let's go after West Christian like they wanted to do, and he's gonna go after the short sellers, and it's like I truly believe going after the brokers, getting discovery through the brokers is a way better path, and like you said, it might be way cheaper. I guess one thing I'm also nervous on is like I've never done a GoFundMe. I don't know what would happen, and like let's just say it blew up. I don't want to take money from anybody. I don't suddenly want like, oh, so let's say I only needed 5,000 on it or something for whatever, and all of a sudden it went up to like 20, 30. Like, what happens? Does everyone get their money back? Like, what, can I just push a refund
You can
button
send
or?
the money back. Yeah, there's a refund button. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
okay.
you might be able to just turn it off as soon as it hits it, I guess. I mean, it's, you know, I just think that having clarity is exactly what you're going to do. I mean, that's why, like, for example, for me, so Pulte gave me $10,000. This was like all the way back in January. Oh, wait, was that? Yeah, January, I think. And, people were like, hey, you should do a GoFundMe. And I was like, I don't specifically want to do a GoFundMe yet because, I mean, one, I didn't ask Pulte for the 10K. He just like gave it to me because he saw that I was like fighting the good fight. And he's like, yeah, like I'll support you. And so, um, like I didn't do one just because I didn't have clarity of what I was going to do. I told the community, hey, look, if I figure out exactly the avenue and how much money it's going to be, then I'll do a GoFundMe. And I haven't gotten to that point yet. I found out that a demand letter was good enough because that basically put our foot in the door where it's like, if the plan administrator for Bed Bath and Beyond ends up screwing us over, then we can sue him for, the same damages, right? Because he's the one who is in charge of the estate. And luckily, it actually seems like, that's actually working because now they are suing. It turns out Hudson Bay was, we had all these different possibilities of what Hudson Bay's role with Bed Bath and Beyond was. It turns out, yeah, they were just doing death spiral financing, um, even more than they did with BBIG, right? So, I mean, I'm actually optimistic that the whole market's going to change just because of that that lawsuit that just started literally a few days ago. And because once Hudson Bay, you know, I mean, they got subpoenaed, right? And they're going to find out that JP Morgan didn't do the share buybacks that they were supposed to do. And I mean, yeah, I think that that's really going to be a huge catalyst, to be honest, because the fraud there was massive. Because B. Riley even underwrote the at the market offering for, or it wasn't an at the market offering. Anyway, the share issuance that Hudson Bay had, so that Hudson Bay didn't have to actually report their holdings percentage, so that they wouldn't be an insider. And then they had all these subsidiaries, and all of them just like had 10%. Anyway, total mess. But I think that, you know, I think that a lot of different angles are happening, and like it might as well just like have as many angles going and just see which one kind of takes off. But I mean, that is something to be optimistic about, because I think it will definitely open up the door for everyone.
Yeah. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm getting to get to another couple of questions here. I don't have too much more time.
All right, sounds good.
I
Sweet.
added you.
Thank you so
Followed
much.
you. Definitely want to get in touch with you again, though. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Sweet. Yeah, hit me up anytime.
Sounds good, man. Have a good day. Alrighty. Just accepted someone else here. 1 second. Let's see if it pulls them up. Otherwise, if anyone else has any questions or want to talk about anything, go ahead and request to come up. I don't know if my Twitter's being stupid again. Everybody that's getting requested is disappearing. Otherwise, I can go over to YouTube, see if anyone wants to talk about anything like that. What are you guys thinking? Like I said, if anyone wants to on YouTube, what are you guys thinking about that lawsuit? Maybe we go after a broker. Like I said, I've talked about this for a while, but because I haven't really gotten anything of the ball rolling. I haven't really gotten too much of yes or no's on that. So, but anyone else have any questions at all? Otherwise, I'm gonna have to get going here pretty quick. I got about 10 more minutes. The other requests I hit accept on and they went away, so I'm guessing they either lagged out. My Twitter is being really laggy. I apologize, everyone. Tomorrow I'm going to be going live on YouTube. I have a lot of stuff to show everybody. Found some more stuff, of course, more loopholes, more corruption, all the good stuff, but we'll be going over that tomorrow. I think I'm going to do these Q&As a little bit more. Maybe I'll do these once a week. I think this one went pretty good, but yeah, I like it this way, where instead of having tons of speakers, we just do one at a time. Anyone else that want to request to come up? Otherwise, I think I'm going to head out. I don't really see many questions on YouTube either. And the other people that I thought wanted to ask are all gone, so. Did the CAT system pass? Yeah, the CAT system passed. They didn't even talk about it. It got no sponsorship ruling, so nobody sponsored it, so it didn't even get brought up in the meeting. So that did fail. So CAT system is good to go. Twitter Space is being dumb, so apparently my Twitter Space. Let me reconnect again. Good grief. So that did fail. Hey, there's a request. Let's try this again. I apologize, everyone. Apparently, Twitter keeps kicking me out left and right, so I don't know what's going on. I just accepted Mike. See if it pulls you up. Mike Birch. Try and request one more time. I thought I hit accept. Mike, go ahead and Mike Birch hit accept one more time, or request one more time. I thought I hit accept on you, but apparently it went away, so I had to reconnect to my thing. Twitter keeps kicking me out left and right. I don't know what's going on. Everybody on YouTube saying they're getting kicked out. So if you guys can hear me now, if you have any more questions, go ahead and request to come up one more time. Are you worried about Murphy getting jealous when the baby arrives? Yeah, he's getting really, really jealous of me getting near my wife right now. So he's definitely going to be a jealous little puppy. I just can't wait, man. I'm so excited. Well, yeah, and that's the problem. They keep creating new loopholes. So, I mean, when one of the things is maybe going after the brokers is the way to go, getting discovery that way, making them liable, because if they're liable through payment for order flow and everything that it's used for, well, at that point, they're not going to give it to Citadel. They're going to be more, you know, they'd rather give it to, it's less risky to give it to an exchange than to give it to Citadel. And maybe that's the way that retail wins as we go around that. So hold on one second here. I got a request. Let me see if it works this time. Jason, I'm pulling you up. Let me see if it works. There we go. How you doing, buddy? Can you hear me, Jason? You are a speaker. You're on mute right now, though, my friend.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I'm all right. So listen, I think we need to get a comprehensive list of the loopholes that they use to get around, and we need to start getting these things closed.
I mean, I agree. I already have a giant list of them all, but it's going to be pretty hard to get them to pass is the problem. We'd have to put a lot of pressure on them, and again, we'd have to back Dave Lauer or get a meeting with the SEC to get these rules proposed even. But we could do it.
Well, yeah, I like the idea of going through the Congress and the Senate. I mean, it is going to be election time here in the next year. If we contact the representatives that are being primaried, then it could have an effect.
No, I agree. I always feel that that's one of the best ways to go. Is again, if you ever want Congress to act, you just tell them your votes on the line, and if they get enough votes on the line, they'll obviously change their ways, even if because they'll have no choice.
Yeah, especially if the people with a large YouTube following start campaigning against certain individuals that don't want to help out, don't want to help the people. They're just there to line their pockets.
Yeah, but that's like 98% of them.
True.
Do you have any other questions, my
But you
friend?
know what's? No, I'm good. I just that's just what I was thinking about.
Thank you for coming up. I'm gonna step down for me quick. I'm gonna pull the next person up, and I got about 5 minutes here. I'm getting that guy.
Hi, man.
Thank you. See here, Mike. Let's try this one more time, my friend.
Later.
Mike Birch. I don't know why I have hit approve on you 1,000 times. Let me try again. Approve on you 1,000 times. I don't know what the hell is going on. All right, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know what the hell's going on here. Twitter apparently doesn't like me today, so Mike Birch, try one more time. All right, I hit yes. Let's see if it tries it. Get you this time. Hold on. Mike, I don't know why it's just not letting. There we go. How you doing?
When we go to see movies, we buy like $80 worth of merch and food. I feel that's like the most potent way to get them upright and stable.
Wait, what's that?
When we go see a movie, we buy like $80 worth of merch and food.
That's the way to do it, my friend. Anytime we get positive, it's a good thing.
I feel they're going to get like 80% back on that, aren't they?
Depends on what you bought. I'm not sure. It all depends on their margin on each specific item.
Well, that's what we try and do. So we do like 4 times what we spend on the tickets, and I feel that's the most effective way for us as regulars to do it. And I will back you if you do something.
I appreciate that. Yeah, and I mean, food and beverages, that's their biggest profit margin. So anytime you're spending that on food, yeah, that's their best way to get it. I mean, obviously popcorn is one of their number one ways to biggest profit margin right there.
I buy that when I could find it in the stores too. Just want to thank you for hanging in there all these years and ain't leaving.
Appreciate it, my friend. Yeah, we got this, man. Time's ticking for these guys. Like I said, all they're running out of places to go. Their lenders are running out of lenders. So just a matter of time.
Yahoo! Have a good day.
Alrighty. I am going to head out, everybody. Breathe. Oh wait, here I got like 14 messages. Holy crap! Let me see if these are questions. One second. Guys, I apologize. Apparently, the space is cut out 1,000 times here. What the hell? All right, so everybody, I hope you guys are. This is all, like I said, sorry guys, I didn't know it was crashing this much. I don't know what's going on with Twitter. I don't know what the problem is. Classic. So I'm going to head out though. My wife just woke up. So I thank everybody for listening. I'm going to go live tomorrow. I'll actually do a video. Like I said, I have a whole bunch to show you guys tomorrow. So thank you guys for listening. Appreciate it. Have a good day.